Well, here we are live with Rose and Tim Coleman. Welcome to today's webinar. How you guys doing today?
Wonderful.
We're doing
All
great.
right.
Yeah.
Well, let's give people a little bit of time to jump in here before you start your presentation and tell us a little bit about what you're going to talk about today.
Balance.
Yeah.
Getting it all figured out. Making money, having a life, having kids, doing it all.
Absolutely.
Balance.
Work-life balance.
All those things.
A lot of business strategies that we like to implement,
Cool.
to maintain that balance, to find that balance, to carve that balance out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it doesn't happen all by itself, and work can definitely overrun life pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I've been there myself, so yeah, absolutely. Looks like we got about 12 people, guys. As you come in, chime in, say hi. Let's see where you're all from.
Says don't be shy.
Start chatting.
Here we go.
Chatting.
So we got.
I feel like it's one of the biggest things that people that I talk to. One of the biggest hurdles in life is balance of working full time, or do I go full time? Do I not go full time? How do you do that? Have a family? All the things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Photography is a gift. I mean, we really have the ability to build out however big we want to get, but it can also get overwhelming. And it sounds like you guys have a great process, and looks like you guys have a great relationship. I love watching your posts and seeing you guys kind of, have fun and go back and forth. But looks like we've got quite a few people coming in now. So I'm going to let you guys go ahead and take it away. Everyone, here's Rose and Tim Coleman from Center Stage Studio.
Oh, thank you, Brian.
Thank you. So, do you want to do a little intro? Tell us about it.
Yeah.
Tell us about ourselves.
Okay. Tell us about ourselves. I'm Timmy. This is my love, Rose. And we've been married. Tomorrow
It's our anniversary.
It is our anniversary.
I bought you a present. Did you buy me anything?
Nope. 16 years.
Is that what you do in 16 years? You just stop buying presents?
Wow.
It's not very nice.
After the webinar, I'm going to get you something real nice.
Sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, anniversary is tomorrow. So we've been doing this a long time.
Yeah. 3 kids.
3 kids. Farm.
Ages.
12, 10, and 8.
Yeah. So we're just at we're just experiencing the kids that do all the things, Monday through Sunday of just basketball or soccer. And
yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. That balance is hard sometimes.
It is hard. So 16 years married, 3 kids, and we own our own business as well.
And we still like each other for the most part.
Yeah. We do have days that are not enjoyable. Are we going to talk about working or balancing our marriage and work and
Let's
stuff?
have marriage therapy right here. I'm sure other people can relate. Who works with their spouse?
Yeah. Yeah. If there's any other spouses out there working together, pop off in the comments. Let's see what's out there. But no, we're going to talk about, staying balanced today. We're going to talk about strategies that we implement in our day-to-day, in our business, to help be strategic about balance and
our plan. Kind of like this is.
Yeah.
We're frozen. Is that okay? Are we frozen? Can you guys see us? Uh-oh.
Are we there?
I don't know. Can you hear us now? We were frozen for a second.
I don't know. It's still going.
We think that balance is key, to your life and success and flourishment. And this is all from our perspective as far as the workload that we want to have, the income that is manageable for us and our small team. Our goal is not just 100% a financial goal as far as just we want to do millions of dollars in sales. We want to do what works for us and to keep it a small team like what we have and be successful and not run it into the ground, but not overdo it. Our kids are young and they're little. And like you said, we're in that space of navigating sports and academics and extracurriculars and camps and things like that. And it's tricky. It's tricky as business owners to get that plan together and see what works. And we feel like we've carved out the niche for us as far as what has been successful, what has worked, what we have found out that does not work, and what we don't like to do. and how we kind of merge that balance together. So this is totally our perspective. We know that there's 100 ways to do it, depending on how big or small on your team and your size and your retail business or home studio business or no retail business. Like there's tons of ways to do it. This is what works for us. This is our perspective. So we kind of want to provide some insight because we do this full time together. This 100% of our income comes from photography. We take care of our kids and our lifestyle and our farm and everything from it. So thank you for being with us. We're going to jump in and get to our slides and start talking. Feel free to chat because we'd love to answer any questions or anything like that. So, oops, let me go back.
You literally started the slideshow at the end.
My bad.
So for me, I was thinking about like, okay, what does balance look like, practically for us? And I kind of came to the conclusion that like in our lives and our business lives, we feel the most balanced when we know our daily routine and like the rhythm and the patterns that we're in, that we feel good about those things. And things aren't like just haphazardly happening, or we're not just, occasionally working or, doing random things. We do plenty of random things, but when we're most balanced is when we're really purposeful in, getting our work done. And then that allows us the freedom and the balance on the other side of that, to rest and to vacation or to, do whatever leisurely things we want to create that balance. What?
Our slide.
Oh yeah, work balance equals numbers. So that's what I was just about to get to.
Whatever, sure.
So one of the biggest things, how we find balance, is knowing our numbers. So knowing what it takes for us to have a lifestyle that we want to have. And that really, when you boil it all down to,
it all comes back to money.
Yeah, types of vacations that you want to have, or the kind of house that you want to have. It all comes down to, well, how are you going to pay for it?
Right.
And for us, that's photography. And so we have to know our numbers, and we took a good amount of time figuring out those numbers, and they change from year to year, from season to season.
We have like in our notes on our computer, like old financial goals, and we're like, oh, remember when we like worked for the horse photographer and we're like bringing this much money, and then we do like dance, and then we bring this much money, and then we're like weddings, we bring it, and like we have those years after years, because every year we were like, okay, what's our goals for next year? And a lot of it back in the day, I would say, was more just 100% financial goals, like we want to bring in $100,000, we want to bring in $1 million, like whatever, like we want to bring in this much money. But it's taken more of a fine tuning of now knowing like, oh, well, you want to bring in this much in sales, but that doesn't equivalent to what is actually going in your pocket, and how expensive children are, or how expensive husbands are, and the things they want to buy. And so it's like, oh, okay, well, just because you made $100,000 in sales is not profit. So figuring out what those numbers are, I feel like in the last few years, we've gotten way more in tune with like, okay, not just like, oh, we want to do this much in sales, but we want to know what our numbers are going to be. We want to do this much in sales, this is much is going to be profit, this is much as owner's compensation, this is much as general expenses. Like we kind of know more of a streamlined effect. But when we were talking about this webinar, we were like, man, what does make us like feel like at peace or calm? And it's like, oh, the more we plan things out, right? Like the more we've kind of got like the plan, whether or not that's like personal things and goals, business financials and goals, but like we have a plan. Okay, we might live into it to the best of our ability. Yes, and it might fail sometimes. Yes, and that does happen. But it's like, for the most part, we have a plan, right?
Yeah, knowing like, how much you spend on groceries and electric bills and auto payments and all that stuff, that all factors into, your grind, however you're going to get that money in.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So knowing, I would say strategy number one in finding peace and balance in your life is knowing your numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So for us, we kind of broke it down into these core things. That means like, what is the kind of lifestyle that you want to have? And not, I would even assume that people in this webinar, not everyone's 100% full-time photographers. You know, that balance might be part-time photography for you. That balance might be like, I just really enjoy shooting X, Y, and Z, and this is fun. It's totally fine. There's not a right or a wrong way to do it. But whatever your lifestyle is it should come back to that, right? Like, what makes you happy? What do you enjoy doing? Like, does it bring joy and stuff to your heart? That's like your lifestyle, right? Isn't your time your most valuable asset that you have? Like, so what that looks like. Financial freedom is a big one for us because we are in to do it and to kill it. Like, kill it. Like,
goodness.
No, mean it. Like, if we're going to do it, I'm aggressive. Like, we want to do it and like make some good money and be financially set. And like, we don't want to be scrape and buy. That is huge for us. So financial freedom, like being debt free and paying things off and like all those things. It's hugely important. That's important to us. And then we have kind of a working it backwards strategy. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But if you want to personally make, like we want to personally make X amount of dollars, well, then it takes X amount of shoots at this amount of averages, at this amount of season, at this amount, you know, it's like you kind of have to fill in the gaps. So work it backwards. What does that look like for you? You want to make this much money? That's not gross sales. You know, it's your profit. It's the stuff after you've paid all your bills. So work it backwards. And there's kind of a strategy to do it. And we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Right.
Are we going into the execution of our, oh no.
No, we already did know your numbers. So working it backwards. Okay. There's a strategy.
Bag it up.
Mm-hmm.
Bag it up.
You're so silly. Okay.
What song is that?
I don't know.
Isn't that a wedding? One of the wedding songs?
I don't know. It's inappropriate though. Working it backwards. Okay. When this is a strategy. We did not come up with this our own, but this is something we've kind of adapted to. Ours is like it spells out the word SMART. And so S means specific, getting clear on your purpose, your meaning, your ethos. Like, what do you want to be photographing? I will say for me, that was really, really hard.
Yeah, that took a long time.
We could talk about that. We could go into therapy about that. But we did, because for me, I'm an Enneagram 3. That's a difficult one just to be in life. I feel like whoever's married to that person, if anybody's a 3 out there, I feel you. I feel all your things. But I'm also a second generation photographer. So I grew up in the business where my mom started small and then made it a really successful company. And she had at one point done everything as well, from like weddings to babies to like the kids programs to seniors and then sports and dance. And like I had experienced all the things. So when we kind of branched out and it was time for us to do our own thing, that I struggled with that really hard as far as like, man, I don't know what I like, because I like everything. And I would take a class on anything. Like, sorry, I hope we're still there. Class on absolutely anything, like newborns. I remember I took a newborn class. I wasn't really wanting to get into newborns, but I just wanted to know how to do it better.
Gosh, you remember how warm those newborn rooms were?
They were so hot.
Like running that
so hot.
The heater and sweating.
So sweaty. Yeah. I remember taking this like beautiful class of a wedding photographer in like California just because I liked his editing style. It's not because I really wanted to do weddings, and I liked doing weddings, but
and
it's
they
like
always pee. Always.
Of course they're gonna pee their babies.
And poo.
Stop it. But knowing what you want, or what even I would say your image style looks like, you know, I think it's one of the best compliments we get is when somebody posts an image, or I post an image and they're like, I automatically knew it was yours. It's like, oh, that makes me feel good, because it's like, I want my style to be represented and be strong, you know, because it's taken me a long time to get there.
What would you say to somebody that's trying to figure out what that style is for them?
Okay, that would be good. Do a branding board. We have done this. He's done this personally. I wish we had a sample of that to show your brand board. Yeah. Personal branding boards, like his ethos, his like, I mean, he did a whole
branding. What's a branding board?
Explain. A branding board? Okay.
Essentially you go and you find images that you like love. So whether or not you can identify yourself in that photo, not like specifically, but like if there's like really expensive Rolex. You're like, that's what I want. So you're gonna screen capture that, and you're like, oh, there's this awesome vacation beach house. I definitely want that. And so you're gonna screenshot that. So then you're gonna find all of these things that you want, or you kind of like, you're like, yeah, that kind of really speaks to me, words or colors or something, and you kind of put it all together. Mm-hmm. And whether it's at your actual brand or inspiration of what you want in life. You kind of, you're like, oh yeah, this kind of sums up me and what I want to be or what I want to look like. Mm-hmm. And it helps kind of give you some nice parameters on brand, personal brand.
And staying in. And I think you can do that personally. I think you can do that as a company. I think you can do that for like a family dynamic, like what's important to you. And I think it's good to have that, because then you can always, like in those seasons of life, come back to it and be like, oh, are we living in this? Or, oh, does my imagery feel still like this? Like, it's always good to try new things and all those things, but like your editing style staying the same, your look and feel of the stuff that staying the same. I think that's hugely important. Yeah. Okay. M for measurable. How much money do you want to make? How many shoots does that add up to? Those averages, knowing those information. Nothing, I would say, more importantly than making really beautiful photos, probably to me, is this part, because I care so much more about the making money of it. And I am passionate. I get excited about trying to figure out how to do that best. I get excited to figure out how other people can do that, what makes them tick, what makes it go. I love that kind of stuff. I do.
Well, it's super important. It's the lifeblood of our operation is financial freedom and goals that we have for our family. Yeah. I mean, that sounds like really materialistic when you say it out loud, but you know what? Maybe this is just it's true. Don't say it out loud part. But yeah, money makes the world go round, and it really helps.
Yeah. We're like, this isn't our side gig. This is our full-time gig. So I don't know. I just get jazzed up about trying to figure out like online strategies and what's selling better and how do you package it prettier and like how to do it quicker and like how do we make more, just those averages higher and the buy rates better. It's just like, I get jazzed up about that stuff. I get jazzed up when people like message me about it. Like, what do you think today? I'm like, oh, this is what I would do. I don't know. I just think it's exciting. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Attainable. Is this doable? So when projecting your backward strategy is like, one, you need to be realistic, because is it doable? Just because it's doable for me doesn't mean it's doable for you. And that is something that a very, very strong nugget I learned from my mother that grew up, she started a nothing in this business and then became very successful. And I remember at one point in my life, and it never left me, is that somebody came up to her and was like, so do you think I can do it? You're doing it. And she's like, whoa. No, just because I can do it does not mean that you can do it. And that's be honest and realistic with like the goals that you have. Just because somebody else can do it does not mean you can do that. And that might sound really harsh, but let's be realistic. Somebody else's gifts and talents and strengths are not necessarily yours. Your gifts and talents and strengths are not necessarily theirs. So, putting all the pieces of the puzzle together to make sure that it works, that's a whole different thing. That might be doable for something that you can attain in a year. It might be a 5-year. It might be like you need to be in a partnership with someone else.
Strategy.
It's strategy. But just because one person's doing it doesn't mean you can do it.
You may be able to do it with the right people around you.
Absolutely.
And with the right strategy.
Teams are great.
Business plan.
Absolutely. Business plan.
Yeah.
Preach. R, relevant. You can talk about this.
I don't know this smart plan. So yeah.
Can you be relevant in the industry, your community and genre, social media?
Oh yeah. So yeah, that's very smart. Relevance, obviously. I'm not from the photography world. And so I came into it, pretty recently. And so a lot of like older things, a lot of older imagery or styles, it, kind of made me giggle a little bit. And so looking into like the future in more modern photography, or specifically what we want to do, what our brand kind of speaks to, we find a lot of inspiration kind of from like the commercial world when it comes to sports photography and stuff like that, but also finding that balance and how to actually make it a sellable product to a mom and not just a cool Nike billboard. So
True.
I think staying relevant obviously is very important. Upgrading your gear and your style.
But I think it's a good self-awareness assessment. Like, are you relevant? Does your stuff stand out? Like, does your stuff look old? Does it look new? Does it look, I mean, there's not a right way or wrong way, but I mean, you just might want to take a good self-assessment of that to be like, where do you fit in the industry, or where does your style fit in?
A self-assessment would be what I think would be wise, but also having people around you, that you love and that you trust, that care about you and your business. They don't necessarily have to be in the industry, but I mean, it's better if they are.
Honest feedback.
Yeah. Be like, man, I don't know if, you're necessarily getting what you think that you are, or dialing it in, but I don't know.
And there, like I said, there's not a right or a wrong way, but maybe your style feels airy and, or, just very whimsical and stuff. And then you're trying to do this one area and it doesn't fit with that style of work, or just the opposite, it's like maybe somebody else can speak into it that loves you or doesn't love
business coaching.
We're going to talk about that.
Yeah. We have financial coaching. We have all sorts of coaching. So, all right.
Okay. Last one, time. T for time. This is your lifeline, your lifestyle. Does it add up to work hard seasonally, but be off in the slow time? Or do you want more of a year-round work-life strategy schedule? Or are you just taking whatever you can to make your ends meet? That's big, because I think in photography, there's lots of different avenues in order to get to where you want to go, right? Do you want to talk about our strategy on that?
Yeah. So
what our season looks like.
Yeah, I kind of have that in one of my sections of scheduling balance. So we'll just go right into, because I'll talk about that.
Okay. Well, then let me skip on that. Your time is your greatest asset. And in photography, there's lots of ways that you can go. But most generally, and this hasn't changed much in a long time, like big time portrait photographers, they're most busy from July to December, right? Summer sessions, seniors, fall family portraits, Christmas, all those numbers, things like that. Their spring, winter, late winter sessions are very, very light. That's like just been known for a long time. There's seasons for weddings where weddings is really popular, certain months. And that can be a little bit more location based because of tropical weather versus really cold weather and stuff like that. So if you're like, I'm doing this, I want to be busy that, or if you're more the well-rounded photographer, like you want to be planted in a community and you want to be their everything photographer, well, then you can have a little bit more of a strategy for your time to be more seasonal. But I think that's a big decision.
It's very strategic. It is.
Oh, you're glitching.
That light.
Disco. We're in the club. No.
I'm just gonna kill that. Yeah, it's very strategic on exactly what business you go after. Like our business is All-Star Cheer, most of it, and our season runs from October all the way through May, and but that's our season. So if you're like if you go after T-ball, summer T-ball is different, or it's in the spring. So it all really depends on what exactly you are going after and targeting and all that stuff. So,
okay. Yeah. So let's get back to our slides. And this is a good assessment if you don't know your numbers very well. PPA, Professional Photographers of America, make on random occasions, I don't know how they do it, but a benchmark survey to understanding where your numbers should fall in line. So if you haven't looked at this very often, these are the two pieces of the pie. The left one being, cost of sales, okay, both 25% on both of us. Whether or not you're a retail business or you're not a retail business, your cost of sales should not be more than 25%, okay? And then your general expenses, 30% if you, or 40%, just depending on if you have a studio or not. Okay. So left, you don't have a studio, right? You do, you're going to have more expensive because you're going to have retail and stuff like that. And then the dark blue is your owner's compensation or your net profit, usually both of those in consideration. So if you look at the pieces of the pie, who makes more money? People that don't have a studio. More times than not. There's nothing wrong with having a studio. You can make that work and stuff like that, but you do need to know your numbers. And if you want to get more information, they're a great place to start as far as just specific photography industry alone. As far as they have a lot of case studies that you can dive into to know every little ounce and inch of their budgets on everything from advertising to marketing to employees to taxes and insurance and all sorts of stuff. If you want to just get more information, you want to see what other people have done, they have it broken down even into the volume world like that we're in. Volume studios, these are the ones that operated at this much. These are the ones that operated with the studio, without, but those things. But on generally, you know, it's a good thing to know is just like your cost of sales shouldn't be more than 25%. If it, you know, maybe it is, maybe it's less, then you're making more money. You know, your general expenses shouldn't be more than this. And then that's how much you're going to make at the end. This is riveting. A great book. Profit First. You want to talk about that?
No.
Okay, fine. I will. Profit First. If you do not feel like you've got a great handle on your numbers, okay, read this book. Here it is. We have it. I've read it twice. It's really good. Profit First. It's a beautiful way to it's not industry specific, but it is, I don't know, it's a good way to divide up your money and have a good financial side of your business plan of paying your bills and your taxes and doing it right. And it's just something we've kind of gone to. It's definitely something that we do. And essentially the information behind it is pay yourself first, like profit first. So essentially it's like you bring on, let's say you made $1,000 this week and all your $1,000 goes in this one account and then you divide it up into other accounts. So it's like taxes are this much, owner's compensation is this much, general expenses are this much, and you do it by percentages and you move them out.
Yeah.
Okay, it's very, very easy, but this is a very easy strategy as far as the work-life balance, because you don't want to get it to the end of the year and be like, oh, we haven't saved any money for taxes. Oh, we haven't saved any money for X, Y, and Z, you know, like, you know, depreciation or things like that. Like, it's just a good way to kind of move it. And then you can see very easily if you're living in it, because if you're only taking your expenses out of your expense account, then if you're over expending, you're going to need to readjust. I think it's a really good tool.
Yeah, I agree.
For balance. And if you live into that, like every week you just do it, you're like, okay, these were all the deposits for this week. I'm going to line it out. Then you don't have to like guess and wonder and hope and like, oh, I want to buy this. Do we have the money for it? I don't know. Should we spend this? I don't know. Things like that. It's just a really good baseline business book.
We definitely feel there, you know, when we are balanced financially, there's a lot of, you know, mental peace and stability there.
For sure.
I think for the most part, everybody feels that way. You know, when you are financially at peace, there is more balance in your life. Absolutely. And this definitely helps us, you know, attain that.
Who spends the money in this relationship?
Our children, technically.
Amazon.
Mom. Yeah, no, I think that's great. What's our next slide?
Okay, this is the nuggets, the business nuggets. Okay.
Oh yeah, this is
going to be a lot about business. We're going to kind of like high level, but
that's a good shot.
Execution, man.
That's a lake
get
shot.
Into it.
Okay, yes. All right. So when it comes to our business, these are big buckets of workload. So there are, you know, that we could put a bunch of others in here, but maybe everything kind of gets categorized in this. And so I'm just going to kind of walk through this as fast as I can. But at the end of the day, when we are executing these areas of our business, we are able to carve out, create, strategize, plan, whatever you want to call it, balance on the other side of it. When these things are going really well, when they're functioning as they're designed to function and they're, you know, we're living into them, then we find so much more balance and peace in our life. So first one, branding. We talked briefly about branding, but branding in the beginning for us, it was really pretty daunting. You know, figuring out what your name was, figuring out your look, your vibe, your photography style.
That's a hard one. I think it's a hard one for a lot of people.
Yeah, but it was so important because that is a baseline for a lot of things moving forward, whether you're going to go after new business, whether you're trying to, capitalize on the business that you have, or to grow your audience, whatever it is, branding is super important, at least in our strategy for our for the growth of our business.
It's our rudder in our boat. Does it come back to that? Does it look like that? I mean, we can try new things, and we're going to talk about that and stuff, but does it come back to that?
Yeah. And so having that kind of understood, and having that, just knowing that about ourselves and about our business really helps eliminate anything that's outside of our brand that maybe is drawing or pulling our attention. And we're just like, no, we don't really do that. It's a way of us to say no to things that we need to say no to stay on brand and on purpose of what we're doing. So that's a big one.
Absolutely. Okay, what's our next one? Targeting.
Okay, so this one sounds kind of weird.
Dun, dun.
But targeting basically is just going after the accounts that you want to go after. So balance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, balance in this is, in the beginning, I feel like we
casted a net.
Yeah, basically just threw a net out there, and we tried to get anything that we could get. Anything that would get caught in the net, we'd pull it in, right? And so that was essential for us in the beginning. But then as time went on, we were able to kind of dissect it a little bit, mold it down,
sniper shoot it,
get a little bit more specific. And so now when it comes to bringing in business, we have a strategy of targeting. So we know exactly kind of what we're going after.
Sniper shooting.
Goodness, so aggressive.
That's what it is now.
We go after specific things. We go after things that we know fall in line with, our calendar, with, what we already do really well, the kind of equipment that we already have. And so there's balance in knowing that we go after whatever this is, this market, and we try to let everything else go away.
Yep.
Okay.
So the next
Does that
one,
make sense?
That makes sense to me.
To you?
Scheduling. See, this top part I don't have anything to do with. It's nice.
Yeah.
All right. Do it.
So
what do you think? Be honest. What is your hardest part of your job?
Hardest part of my job is scheduling, for sure.
Scheduling. It's good. It gets bad.
Okay. So scheduling is tough. We, like I said, we run a primarily all-star cheer photography business. About 80% of what we do is that. Majority of it, vast majority, about 90% of it is traveling. And so it's very difficult to get everybody lined up from October to the end of April. It's a lot of communication. It's a lot of back and forth. It's a lot of emailing, dates. We book our own travel, obviously. So it's airlines, it's hotels, it's rental cars, and all that stuff.
I mean, we only have like 3 we drive to, right?
A couple. So it is a hot mess at best. There's no balance in those seasons, just to be honest. There's just grinding, right? But we do that for that season so that then the rest of our year is really pretty chill.
Yeah.
Come June, July, August, September, we do have some accounts that are here locally, like our local high school teams and, anything like we do cheer and pom and baseball and football and volleyball and stuff like that. But that is a very small part of what we actually do. And so we know that in certain seasons, it's just going to be what it is, right? We were having that conversation today, being like, January is going to suck.
Well, and just to be honest, I mean, like, we're very honest people. We're pretty open about all the things. And we were having this conversation in the car this morning. We take our kids to school together. This is how needy my husband is. We take our kids to school together because he's like, we go together, babe. And I'm like, we're here together all the time. Do we have to take the kids to school together? He's like, yeah, you've missed it like twice this year. And I was just like, yep, I have. Let's go together. Sure, baby. So we go together. And because he's so needy. But on the way home, he was just like, we could start talking about the schedule or something, and randomly he'll be like, oh, this thing called Rollers, they contacted me and they want to shoot. And he's like, I don't think we can do it. They got like 400 kids, and I don't think we can do it. And I was like, why not? Make it, fit it in there, squish it in there somewhere. 400 kids is a lot of kids for us. And then he's like, his mood just changes automatically. And he's like, wish I wouldn't have booked those 2 in Texas that you made me book, because it's just a worth the time. And then he's just like, demeanor changed. And I was like, tell me how you really feel. Why? I said, book anything in Texas because it's close to Oklahoma. Maybe we could drive somewhere. And he's like, well, I did, but it's El Paso. You can't drive to El Paso from Oklahoma. And I was like, information I did not know.
No, you can definitely drive.
But we're not going to. Past a certain time, like 9 hours, we're going to fly somewhere. And it was like, okay, I know it's in Texas, but I was thinking it's more like Dallas or something like we could zip down to and come back, and literally he was just like, scheduling is so hard. It's so hard because we want to be accommodating to everyone that we want to serve. We don't like saying no to small gyms because we feel like they should get as much attention as the big ones. And man, it's challenging. It's really hard. Mm-hmm. It's not easy.
Great story.
I'll let you.
Being needy. Great. Put that out.
He is. This could be therapy. It's great. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay. Communicating. That's probably your next hardest one, right?
Yeah, obviously. So another funny story is the other night I was on my phone and I was texting with this other account and getting ready for bed, and Rose she goes, "Who are you texting?"
I did not say it like that. I said, "Who are you talking to?"
No, that
does
exactly.
that sound like that
you
at
said,
all?
Who are you texting?
Not like
just
that.
Like that. And I'm like, watch Survivor. Chill out.
You need to check your heart, because there was no animosity in that at all. You're just like, sorry, I'm talking about work. And I was like, okay, I was just like, who are you talking
I probably read into it a little wrong.
Did.
So
he did.
Yeah. In this season of craziness, there's a lot of communication. There's a lot of back and forth messaging, whether text or email or Instagram, Facebook, whatever you're doing. So this is a huge portion of our business, and so it's something that we obviously want to be very diligent in. We are of the mindset that over communication is not necessarily the best communication. It's we want to make things clear, concise, but I really don't want to be blowing up gym owners 4 or 5 times a day just for like rant, like I want to get all the information I need to get in kind of one generalized, message. Mm-hmm. And then if there's any fine tuning to it, we can do that as we go. But I'm of the belief that I don't like being blown up all the time, and neither do my gym owners. And so trying to find restraint and to be clear and concise in my communication and whatever I need from them. It's super important for our business to get just all the information that we need to get. And still, it's difficult. I'll show up to a shoot and we won't have all the information we need or something, and that happens. But, you just kind of roll with it.
I blame you on those things too.
Yeah.
It's okay. Okay, next one. Photography. Okay, so I would say I can speak to that. Obviously our main shooter. Tim does not shoot. Trying to have him learn how to do that, but he's not going to do it. So when it comes to photography and I would say aspects of staying balanced in that, for me, it's we try new things when we can and we don't when we don't. We're not in the thick of it. I'm not testing out and trying new things. A lot of the times I'm more just kind of sticking to what I know works, what we can travel with, and getting things done. The only thing new that we might implement are some color strategies based on like just their colors at their gyms, stuff like that. When I'm not busy has been this past season, because we're just starting to kind of ramp up and stuff, has been that is like, okay, we can try new things, bought new gear, tried new gels, tried new backgrounds, things like that. We purchased, yesterday was my like last B&H order. I was like, chose to
yeah.
I was like, okay,
Jeez.
I ordered the last things that I'm going to need for travel season. It's like $3,500, but I'm done. And I was like, I'm not going to text him this. I'm just going to email him this so he can like kind of ignore it and then like address it later. But then it's done. I'm done. I've got the stuff nailed down that I need to do. But I would say we've got a picture in here. I'm going to show it to you so you can kind of see, for instance, something that we did just the other night. Literally, this was a backdrop that I've had this backdrop forever.
I really can't believe it turned out that good.
I know, right? And we got some new equipment in, and I was just like, hey, let's try, because we had some time at this shoot during a certain hour, and I was like, hey, let's gel the background. We've got time. This girl's not doing anything.
You tell me that's not green screen?
That's not green screen. That is a silver sequence background.
I would have never believed it.
I've had for like 10 years.
That wasn't Photoshop?
Shut up. You are silly. That he didn't even want to bring. I was like, we're not going to do the red. All these girls' outfits are just mainly black, and they've got pops of color, and they're different colors. So I'm not going to do red. I'm going to bring the silver. And he's like, I don't like the silver. Blah, blah, blah. But then we had some time with the girl on the right, and we're like, hey, let's gel it with the new gels and stuff and see what that looks like. And so we just started playing around. We were playing around with a beauty dish and then a very large Profoto softbox with a Profoto umbrella with a diffuser on it, and just trying our color balance and just seeing what looks and stuff that we liked. But this is something we're going to do when we have the time. And when we don't have the time, we're not going to do it, but it's beautiful. It's fun. And then the next girl that came up was like, oh, let's put on the teal gel. And then the next girl that came up, she's like, I like pink. And I was like, oh, that's fun. So, trying things out when you have the time, but not trying to do that when in the midst of your super, super busy season.
It can be a big distraction.
It can.
You can get down a rabbit hole.
Absolutely. Especially with me.
Create new things and be creative,
Yeah. And we can do it. Not to say you couldn't do it. I've done it. For sure I've done it. But it can add a lot more stress and anxiety to your life, and it's just like when we're kind of in the run and gunna season, it's like pack it, keep it concise, keep it easy to manage, and make it beautiful and move on. That's kind of our strategy. So I would say to that. Okay. So the next part of it is experience.
Oh yeah. So this is good too. So,
experience. Let's just go experience and service. Let's get those together. Okay. Experience and service, because I think it's good.
Yeah. So basically it's running your photo day shoot, right? The experience of it. You can be prepared or you can not be prepared, and being not prepared sucks. Especially if you've got a bunch of kiddos or whoever you're photographing. So the more you're prepared, the better, you have everything, all your ducks in a row. It really, like, mentally for us, there's so much more confidence and peace. And, we do quite a bit of these shoots. And so, you get into a pattern of what it's just like, all right, I know this in and out, and I will say with the Capture app with Photo Day has been wonderful. So it has helped streamline not only our back-end process, but our experience process. So the Capture app allows us to go completely paperless. I have all the athletes' information. We take a picture of their face, and it just black magically pulls them together whenever we upload the images on Disney Magic on the back end, and it saves us so much time. But figuring out what you can do during your photo day experience to just make it better, clean it up, make it more organized, whether it's bringing more people, staff, or equipment, whatever you need to do, bringing less equipment, less staff, having better communication up front, whatever it is, do it, because it's going to save you so much time and frustration than on the back end, and so it's kind of our whole deal. It's like we have all these buckets of what we do to run our business. And what we found is the better prepared, concise, just the better we run those things at the front end, gives us balance, or at least margin for balance on the back end of things.
Yeah, I would say to that, on the photography side of things and personnel, like another thing that my mom really instilled in me at a very, I don't know, when I was working for her, is she was like, you don't hire photographers, you hire personalities. Personalities is something that you can't change in someone, but you can always train a photographer. And it's been huge for me as far as just realizing that wisdom there, because you want a good personality when you're working with children. And we've been on the flip side of having those people and not having those people. And what I want every child that works with me to feel really great about themselves and special. And I'll cry if we start talking about this for a long time, because it's important. I feel like even if they're little or they're big or they're disabled or they've got an injury or something like that, like I want them all to walk away with a great experience, you know, or like I want everyone to feel beautiful about themselves. Like our branding is beautiful and dynamic, and I love it. You know, it's like, and I want the 300-pound little girl that comes in that's really, really overweight. I want her to feel as beautiful as the teeny little tiny person that comes in. And I will work my butt off to get it. And she knows her size and she knows her weight and she knows all the things, you know, but I still want her to walk away feeling beautiful. And I want the girl who's in a wheelchair that can't get up and chair, but she's in the special chair abilities, to feel just as beautiful as the next girl that comes in, you know, that can stand up and walk for whatever reason. Like I'm asking Mom, like, do you want me to, you know, what do you want me to do? And I want them to all just feel good. You know, I want them to walk away. I want the dancers that we walk away with, the little ones that are trying to make their jumps and they haven't perfected it yet.
Oh, they're so bad. They're so bad.
They're just so sweet little people. And I'm like, yes, girl, you look beautiful. You'll only hear positive things from me because I think it's special. And I think that it's important. It's important to their self-esteem. And I think as adults, we're to pour into that, you know, and to love people. And trust me, I've met too many of them that don't get it at home. So I don't know, it's important to me. So you can teach photography, but you can't change somebody else's personality. So I think that is hugely important to the overall experience. So I'm good. I'm serious. I start thinking about my kids in general and I'm like, yep. Okay, got it. So speaking of my kids, my wonderful kids. So we're at like 47 minutes, so we don't want to go too long and take up anybody's time. But
about 3 more minutes, and we'll open up for any questions or whatever. Yeah. As
far as the personal life balance, everything we do in our business will be reflected in our personal life. And for us, we feel like bringing our kids a part of the journey is hugely important to us. My mom worked a lot. She took a lot of time to grow her business. I was in the thick of it and stuff like that. But we understand that we want our kids to be in it with us. So my daughter, you will see more behind the scenes photos of my daughter holding a gray card at a photo shoot than ever, because she's at the age where this summer she shot buddy shots with me like all summer on our cheer teams. I was like, here's a tripod, just sit. They're going to go over there, stand. They'll know to do their thing, hit the button. And teaching that. Finn, you know, that's our youngest on our last flight, and he'll come with us. Like he will ask me, this summer he's like, man, Mom, and I was like, I've got to go work tomorrow, so I'm going to get up early. He's like, I'm going to go too. And I was like, oh, you don't want to go. It's like to Tulsa, it's a couple hours away, you know. He's like, no, just wake me up. I promise I will go with you. I'm going to go help. And so I'm like, baby, okay. And so I woke him up and he's like, okay.
That's cute.
He's like, I'm going to get in the car. And he comes with us. And that was a test shot of him on the field on the left. Like it's important to us to have them be with us. And so as much as we can and go and do, and they're only at the age that we can have them be more. This was a super cute video I was going to show you of him, but it's not there. But it's him talking about Jesus and all that he's done for me. And he's just super cute. And he's in the middle of Tim's office, and they're just kind of always in the thick of it with us. And it's okay. Like our studio barn, you know, is here and we like it. And, you know, they can be out there with us, and, you know, it's converted into like their place for the birthday parties if we need to, and they're in it. But it's important to me. It's important to us to have them around as much as possible. You know, so we can experience this as a family. It's definitely not a divided.
Our life isn't very segmented. It's very much all together.
Yeah. Okay. So last slide, because this one is big. Okay. This one is big. Drum roll. How do you make on our last slide. Dang it. Okay. So close. Second to last slide. How do you make a balance? Get your plan. You get a mentor, learn from people that are 100% supporting their family on this business, live into your plan, and hopefully God gives you flourishment. I mean, that's the goal, right?
That sounds pretty easy.
Okay. But it's good. If you would do those things, you will be if you do half of them, you'll be in a much better place. Get your plan together. That's your business plan. Get a mentor. There are plenty of mentors in the photography industry and or not. We have mentors. I have people that speak into my life about the balance of life and children. I have people that speak in our life at the balance of our finances and stuff. I would say learn from people that are 100% supporting their families on this business. If you're going to choose to learn from someone and love their work and stuff like that, I would suggest pointing you in the direction of people that are actually supporting their families on this business. Some are, and some are not. And it's a big difference in people of how they price their stuff and how they pay their bills. Live into that plan. Stick to it and flourish. Okay. And then our last one, this one's good. Mentor said this to me last week, and I've said it every day since. Everything I have in my life, I've caused it, I've created it, or I've tolerated it. And that's a big one. That's huge. I don't know. Deep. I thought about it every single day. I was just like in some pain points that we were going over that was like, man, my business, this is a pain point. I need to work this issue, And she's like, I'm going to tell you this, and this is good, but let it hit you. Everything I have in my life, I've caused it, I've created it, or I've tolerated it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, man, I've tolerated my husband for a long time. Kidding. No, but that's good. It's good when it's a good navigator when you're having issues, what are pain points in your business, pain points in your personal life, stuff that's like, are you causing it? Are you creating the problem? Or are you tolerating the problem? So fix the problems. I'm a huge advocate for that and stuff like that. So, but if you have any questions, please put them in the chat box. We will be happy to stay on for the next couple of minutes and answer any questions.
Woo!
Oh my gosh, you're silly.
Crushed it.
Yes, Kimberly has a lot of really good comments. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Yes, treating their clients like cattle and taking no time to care for people at all. Amen, sister. Mm-hmm. Like, you want to get a negative review, like on people in their other businesses, like don't treat their clients very well. They just run them through and they get it done, and they don't make them feel special. Hugely important. Lisa said, picture day is so important to our kids. It is. I mean, self-esteem. I mean, like imagery, not like one of the most important things right now with social media to children, to self-esteems. That's a lot. That can go good or bad really easily. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are there any questions in here?
If you have any questions, please pop them in. I don't see any. But I really appreciate you guys having the time to come out and hang out with us, right?
Yeah.
Any other questions? Going once? I don't think so.
There's Brian.
Hey, Brian.
Hey. That was great. You guys did fantastic. That's some fantastic information. Thank you for coming on and sharing with us today. And I found your why, by the way, in that. So the fact that you want to make everyone feel special, beautiful, all of that, it's clearly core to who you are. So I can identify that's one of the reasons why I do what I do is I want that same thing. I want to make them feel that way. So that was a great way to kind of pull some things together for people. So anyway, yeah, if we got any more questions, let them have it. If not, Tim, have fun.
Yeah,
a lot to hold on to.
Do you want to say any like socials or anything, or if people do have questions maybe after the fact?
We're mostly on Instagram at Center Stage Photos. That's our main avenue of posting, sharing behind the scenes, things like that. If you want to see more of our work, that's a good place to go. I'm on Facebook, Rose Coleman. You can always reach out, things like that. We do have a YouTube channel. We also got some things in the works. Hopefully with my friend, we can share some of that.
Yeah. Any negative comments, you can email them to Lisa at Photoday. and she will gladly take care of them. Just kidding.
No, it's all our perspective.
Oh, I think that's it. I think that's all we got.